Hey everyone, I just thought I would jump in here and wish everyone a happy holiday. I am out at Stinson Beach and taking a couple days off with my kids and family. It's really, really awesome. And we're making Christmas ornaments and we're doing a bunch of art stuff here as well. But I thought today, I'm next on Sunday, I'm going to be talking on my vlog um, kind of about time saving because this has been a really busy time for me. And I'm still trying to make art, even though I got all this Christmas present stuff and all kinds of things going on right now. And so that's just been up for me. And there's some things I do that really make a difference. And I thought I would just hop on here and just share them with you, besides saying happy holidays. So, hey, Michelle, nice to see you here. Awesome. Um, so, the main thing that has made such a difference for me in, in making my art this year and speeding me along and keeping me engaged and keeping me learning has been this practice of experimentation. And it sounds like when you think of it, that's like, who has time to do this? Who has time to experiment when you're making your work? It's like, we just want to like, let's just get this thing done. We've been working on it long enough. But so here's what I do. I tend to work on these uh, I have my work when I'm about to start, and this is especially like when I haven't been working for a little bit or I'm starting a new painting. I build into my practice about a 15 to 20 minute time period that is always used as an experiment. I don't start on the painting that I'm trying to make. I just learned that I'm better if I come at it a little later. So what I have in my studio, and I do this, I do this in all the workshops as well. Everyone has like we're working on 12-inch boards, but we also have a spare board. And that is just something that you're just going to experiment on. Or if you're just starting, you experiment on the painting you're about to start on. And this is really, really cool. And when I do it in the studio, I have a very large painting. If I'm working on my larger work, 5-foot painting, I have another panel that hangs on the wall that works, that is right next to it. And that's what I start on. And it's just amazing what you do. So there's a few reasons why this works and why I think it is so effective. Hey, Tammy, nice to see you here. Merry Christmas. Um, why I think this works is that what's happening is that when you're putting your art together and you're just experimenting and playing and trying different things, you are actually just intuitively mark making. You're just throwing stuff on there without any rhyme or reason. And what happens is that you're purely using your intuition. You're just responding to what you like, what feels good. You're just going to spend 10 or 15 minutes doing this thing. And powerful stuff starts to happen. It just looks really cool. And that is such a great mode to get into. Like if you can start making your work when you come into it and you're feeling like you're curious and interested in like, wow, how did this little thing happen? Then that's the best mode to be in for starting your more serious work. It just makes better work. It's kind of crazy. Hey, Diane, nice to see you. Laura, awesome. Happy holidays. Um, anyway, yeah, Susie, you do that most of the time. I think it's the number one thing I do now that is what is making it happen for me, because my available time, just with a bunch of things that are going on right now, it has a lot to do with like where I'm living and I'm trying to get this loan and it's a problem and there's just all this life stuff that is not going away anytime soon. And so my time that's available, I don't have as much. But this is just, I think I've made more work now because of this. So what happens, and so intuition is really powerful, what this develops, and that's not hard, like intuition's not hard, it's just a natural part of you. And so you can just learn that and just practice that. And then you bring that to the painting you're working on, and you just go into it, and you're much more fresh, you have much more kind of broad perspective on it. It's just way lighter. It's so much better. So that's one of the reasons that it gives you, it sort of foreshadows how you want to be making your work. When you paint like this, you make better marks. And when you make better marks, you don't have to change them. You're not struggling to warm up. Like trying to warm up by making something that counts, it takes twice as long. So that's what I think is happening. I think that's why it's so powerful to do this. Um, Susie, I'm curious, like, how are you working on a separate board, or what are you doing? Um, how does this, do you work on paper beside it? I actually hang a painting next to my painting. And here's the thing, when I'm doing it, um, and I work on the same board, so I work on the same board for 20 minutes, and then I go to my other painting and I work on that in a couple of hours. And then when I come back in, I work on that same painting. That painting that's the side board that is just like something that I start on, it gets really interesting. And pretty soon, within 3 or 4 passes, it becomes a more interesting board, a more interesting painting that I want to work on. And then I start working on that one because I like that more than the thing I was planning on working on. So then I have to get another board. I don't know if this happens to you guys, like you just end up generating more work, cooler work that you would rather make, and it happens faster. So this is just a really great trick. I mean, it's just I think this is like a whole course in how doing this. I think it's awesome. So it starts turning into this thing of multiples. And I know, you guys probably on this, or listening, know that I talk about this a lot, working on several things. And this is kind of a variation of that, you know, always starting with the thing you don't want to start on, starting on a spare, experimenting, building that into your practice, that experimentation is just part of the practice always. And it's 10 minutes, it's 15 minutes. You have two things then to look at, which is way, way better than looking at one thing. And if you have three things to look at when you're working on the one thing, it's even better still. So this leads into working on multiples. And this is also huge, huge, huge. Having two things, two approaches, this experimentation approach, one, and two, having a bunch of work that you're working on at the same time. I mean, you're working on a piece, and then you've got 4 or 5 others that are visible. One of those can be that board that you're just kind of experimenting on, that's growing, that's changing, but you have other panels, other paintings that are out that you're looking at. When you have these multiples, you can get your answers can come quicker on the one you're working on, because you have these other things that you can reference, like, oh, the color's really working great on that one. I will bring that knowledge to this one. And because they're your boards, because they're your paintings, it relates to what you're doing. Like, you're the best teacher of yourself. And this really is about teaching yourself. This is better than having any teacher or watching any YouTube video or anything. It's setting up the conditions so you can teach yourself, which I just totally love. Nicole's saying, I'm working on a commission, but I want to use my new skills, so I'll do the commission the way the buyer wants it, but starting 2 new ones of the same size so I can use the same colors with the new style. Did that make sense? Totally. Nicole, this is kind of, I've done this a lot. You have a spare, you know, you've cut the pressure in half by having 2 things. And when there's less pressure, you make better work. And I'm curious, it's probably the better painting is the one that isn't for the commission, but probably they wouldn't like it. You know, it's like what's the better one. But I absolutely do the same thing. I would prefer to have four things going rather than one. It's too scary to have one thing totally. Um, yeah, threes racing, threes always. Do you see how this is like everyone does this? It's so great. Susie says I work on two or just one, then the more I let go, the better it gets. But then I question myself, but definitely paint intuitively. Yeah, that's great. Um, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, hey, Louise, nice to see you here. And Bridget, awesome. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's so nice to be just away. I don't know, about 45 minutes away from the studio at this place called Stinson Beach. If from those of you are know the Bay Area, and we just rented this house for 5 days and 6 days, and so we're just out here, and it's really, really relaxing. And boy, I just so totally needed it. But it's a little hard because I'm not at my studio, and I have paintings I want to be working on, but it's far enough away to where I can't get there. So today I'm just totally taken off. Tomorrow I'm totally taken off, and it's just nice. It's super super great break. Um, so anyway, so those two things are just hey Sarma, those are so key. One of the things I do with the commission, since we're talking about it, is that this is the ultimate way that I've learned to deal with the pressure of that, because a commission ultimately is like, make me one painting and it has to be kind of like these other ones. There's all these parameters around commissions, and they're really hard as a result. A lot of people, I bet if we just polled, people, artists, I would say most don't like them. They don't do them. But I found a really cool way to do these commissions. Um, and it was pretty simple. And I'll throw it out there and see what you guys think. This is what I ended up. I couldn't do them for years. And so now when I get a commission, you know, I get the price and I agree to it, and I do a couple things. I say, what are the 5 or 6 paintings you love of mine that made you call me? Because I want to see what they like, right? And I don't want to get stuck in repeating myself. So I say 5 or 6, so they can't say do the starry night again, right? So 5 or 6 paintings, so I can get, and I say I want to get the feeling of this, and then I say, great. Know that I have to make a painting that I love, and if I love it, you probably will too, because you've chosen work that all that work you've chosen is just work that I made that I really love making it, and know that I won't repeat myself, but it will be probably better because it's more recent, but it helps me to look at all that work. So thank you. And sometimes I tell them this, and sometimes I don't. It depends who it is. But I take a deposit, and I say pretty much, people, it's super important to me that you just absolutely love this. I'm not interested in like you accepting something that's kind of okay. That's the only standard I have. You have to love this. And I'll tell them this. If you don't love this painting, I keep it, because I have to make a painting that I love, and I need the freedom to do it. And if I love it, I know for sure that somebody out there will purchase it or also love it. And if you're not that person, that's okay. Like, we don't have to do this. So I guarantee it now. I'm like, you have to love it or else give all your money back. That way I'm doing the painting for myself. Does that make sense? It's so powerful to actually say that to someone. Like, I don't want any pressure. Like, I don't care. I'll keep it because I know that's my commitment to doing the work, that I have to love it. And why would I do anything else? So now I'm just painting a painting for myself. And you know what? That's just really powerful thing to say. It's powerful to say. It's also powerful for the person. It gives them a tremendous amount of confidence. Like, wow, but I make sure I take the money, I take it up front, I take, a third or a half, so so they're paid. I'm not wasting my time, and I don't do a size that's really weird. I recommend a size that I want to do, so you're kind of taking ownership of it, right? And then I can experiment in it. Then I can start the way I do it. I can change it if I want. And I pin up the things that they like. I keep my mind on that, but that's just the minimal thing. If they've chosen 5 paintings that they love, I kind of look at the best one in there and go, okay, how can I do something cooler than this one? What can I do that's going to be better than this, right? Um, so out of that, that's how I do them. And after I start doing that, I love doing commissions. And this is crazy because I do a lot of them now. I get tons of them. And it really it's great. And I had one, the last one I did, the person had an issue with it, and ended up completely changing it, and there was some truth to what they said. I didn't there, it was weird. The person did respond to something, and I thought a lot about it. I looked at it, and I came up with a way that I thought I could improve it. But what you're doing is you're staying in the driver's seat the whole time. Once you give that driver's seat up to the person, oh, I need it to be this, and you got to make it more blue and green, you've lost it, and it becomes not fun at all. And so really what I'm saying is you have to have freedom to be experimental, to use your intuition, which is what we were taught. I started talking about, which was finding a way to work that optimizes that brings that out in yourself. And that's playing, that's experimenting, that's having total freedom. So it's pretty cool. Like that's the key to this whole thing. It's the key to making amazing work. It's the key to making work that sells. It's the key to making work that other people can commission you to do. And anyway, so I've had a lot of conversations with people about commissions, and I think they're great now, but I could show you ones that came out. They always came out like half baked for me, because I was in the driver's seat. I was thinking of the person and what they wanted, and So anyway, that's a maybe a little side tangent to what what I was talking about, but it kind of relates because it's all about having freedom and sticking to that and having a process of working. You just kind of adapt it to someone who's they're just giving you a little bit of input, and then you can riff off of that. It's like, sure, you could tell Robin Williams, like, here, do a routine with a bird in it. It's like, it's not very confining. That guy he could just be himself in any form, and that's what's really essential, and that's what I've used this year, as a way of staying in this flow state and accessing it really fast. If I'm so busy, I'm doing all this stuff, and in 10 or 15 minutes I can just be in it, then I'm so productive for like an hour and a half. I was just thinking, I'm going to post, for those of you who are new here, I'm just going to post it right now in the comments. This is we're gearing up for our free Art to Life workshop. Starts February 14th. It's going to be really awesome this year. This is a free week-long training we do that leads into our 12-week program. So for those of you who want to get on the early wait list for that, I just put that page up. We're kind of early. I know it's still December, but I can't resist saying it, because I want to get, if anyone wants to be notified when that happens, get on that, and you will be. I'm working today a little bit on the downloads for that workshop. It's pretty cool. And some of the things I'm going over relate to what we're talking here. But anyway, this Sunday, I've got a vlog coming out that talks more about what I'm talking about now, about finding the window of time to do your art in an increasingly busy time. I think this is more about me, but I know that other people struggle with finding enough time. So I hope you can check that out. We post it on this Facebook group, or you can also go to the arttolife.com and subscribe to it, and we'll email it to you. So Anyway, Carrie, nice for you being here. Sarma saying this might be off topic, but speaking of commissions, could you comment on digital painting versus traditional painting? What would be a commission price of a digital portrait of a boy painting from a photo with a final product being 3 by 5 foot print on canvas? Sarma, it's hard for pricing. It's all based on what you've charged in the past, right? So have if you've done something in the past, that makes a big difference. So you sort of start there. If this is the first time you've done that, maybe you just want to do it and you want to reasonably price it. So I guess what you're saying is you digitize this and then you're going to blow it up on a 3 by 5 foot print of canvas. So I think it's hard. I think it's just super hard to exactly know, but look at the prices you've done before, and then a 3 by 5 foot canvas is a pretty big thing. So if you just look at what those cost, but it's digital, it's sort of a digital print, but you've custom done it, so 700 to 3,000 in that range kind of, but it really depends on what you've done. You've done 10 of these and lots of people are buying them, and they're getting better. People are buying your sensitivity and your expertise. um, cool. So Ray, nice, thanks for being here. Karen, hi. And Kara, awesome. Carol, yeah, I hope maybe you've tried that. I think it's like the secret to doing commissions, and it's such a thing that everyone gets asked to do so much, and I rarely have like the right size for people. I don't know. I make big paintings, and big paintings are not always what people want. They have a smaller space. I don't do a lot of 36-inch paintings, but people commission them a lot. I also sell a lot of these 12-inch paintings, the 12-inch by 12-inch paintings that I do at workshops. Those are really those are something small. I guess they're like gifts or whatever. But I usually just those aren't usually commissioned, but I get a lot of like mid-size commission paintings, 4 foot, 5 foot, some 6 foot, and then I tend to sell the larger paintings that are just much larger, 6 foot and over, and people just tend to like those, and maybe they can't imagine commissioning something that big. But I never get large commissions. I'd like to, but anyway. Well, listen, you guys, super fun saying hi and seeing you here, and that you guys are actually in on the Facebook, uh, at Christmas. But anyway, I'm going to go out and do a nice long walk with my daughter right now. So thanks for being here, and hope your Christmas tomorrow is great. Okay, and Laura, thanks for showing up and helping with this. Appreciate it. Okay, you guys, bye.